Looks like we're live. Hey, is this the
Hi.
first Kadence live stream?
In a year, we live streamed when the acquisition happened.
Really?
Over a year ago. We did do one. I think that was in our Facebook group. But yeah, this is scary still. You know, this is the like, oh crap, we don't have an edit button.
We don't have an edit button at all. And we've got 108 people watching us. Hello, Kadence family. We're so happy you're here. We are so excited. I was so excited watching everything that was happening with Shop Kit. This is pretty big stuff, and this is very innovative stuff. Look at everybody coming in. Hello from all of these different places. I wanted to do a live stream. I wanted to showcase Ben and Hannah because I think WordPress needs more Kadence in it. I'm excited about this product. I'm excited about this team. And so that's what we're here to do. We could have just done the podcast and I could have edited everything and made it all pretty and sent that out. But then, I wanted to share you guys. I wanted to share what's really happening with Shop Kit. So thanks for humoring me. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for everybody for joining us here today. Shop Kit 2.0 is live, isn't it?
Yeah. Live as today. Yeah. Which is awesome. It's exciting. I'm glad that that initial launch is out, because at some point we had to say like, this is as far as 2.0 is going to go, or like that big version number. And so getting it out means now I get to focus on all the other things that I wanted to add into 2.0, but didn't get to just because of time. So it's like, sweet, this is live. It's ready. There's so much you can do now in your WooCommerce store, but then it's like, but I'm always thinking like, I want to get this added next and this added. So I'm glad it's out.
I know that a lot of people who have been playing with this beta over the past few weeks are excited that it's out too. This is groundbreaking. The options that this has available, there are is it 14 or 15 different modules in Shop Kit that help us empower people to do more with WooCommerce?
Yeah, it depends on how you count modules, because the variation images is kind of a separate module, but it's all baked into the gallery. But yeah, it's 14 or 15.
That's a lot. And
enough.
It's definitely a lot. And it's the most powerful thing that I've seen released for WooCommerce in a really long time. And I'm excited. I think my prediction is that Shop Kit is going to empower so many more people to do more with WooCommerce that this is going to change the face of e-commerce as we know it. That's my prediction. You can
That's
do
bold.
the remind me in a year, but yeah. I think that there's enough.
That is bold.
There's enough in here and I know that the Kadence community is incredibly creative and forward thinking. So they're going to take something that you've given them here and it's going to change e-commerce. So we'll come back in a year. I'm going to make a note, end of July, and you guys can either laugh at me or you guys can say, Kathy, gosh, you're such a visionary.
Awesome.
Oh, cool. All right. So you guys just got done with a bunch of vacations. I have to ask about that because you guys are up in the mountains and I'm here sweltering in Texas. Please tell me all about your lovely vacations. Hannah? You want to go first?
Yeah. I was in Montana recently, like a week ago. So Ben lives in Montana. I live in Boise. And a couple of my siblings all went out there and we did a backpacking trip in the Madisons, which are stunning. They're a mountain range pretty close to Yellowstone. And we did a midweek trip and it's pretty good trek in. It's like 10 miles back there. So there's not many people. I think we saw 1 or 2 people the whole time. And it was just stunning. It was so awesome. I also did like a little mini ski trip. My boyfriend is obsessed with skiing. And so he thought it would be a great idea to do some backcountry skiing in July. Which the idea of it sounds better than what it actually was. But it was cool because I snowboard. So we boot packed up Trapper Peak in the Bitterroot and found a little gully to snowboard down. And it was fun.
Amazing. Yeah. That's great. And Ben, you just got back from a lake vacation.
Yeah. So it's like, this is the time to get out in Montana. And so we kind of have like things planned. Quite a bit. in July and August, because it's just so nice. All you want to do is be outside all day long. But the Madisons were awesome. We just got back from Flathead Lake, where we spent 5 days with like my wife's family. So I have 4 kids, had a lot of fun with them out on a boat, them getting their experience of first time tubing and first time really fishing. My 3-year-old thinks he did a lot of fishing. We took the hook off, so he just threw a bobber into the water for hours on end and loved it. With hit a little frozen fishing pole, like branded as frozen, and he thought it was the coolest thing. So
That is so
Yeah.
adorable.
So funny.
yeah,
I'm biased, but Ben's kids are so cute. It's unreal. They're so fun.
yeah.
They definitely make for some great stories. That's one great benefit of being on the Kadence team, is you get to hear all of the amazing and sometimes just amazing stories Ben's kids bring to the table. It's great. Which I will just mention this. If you want to be a part of the Kadence team, we are actually hiring. Our team is growing. Kadence, obviously, as a product, is growing, and we are hiring a support person. We will pop a link somewhere, either in the notes down below or into the chat. I'll try to get that in there when Ben is demoing in a little bit. But yeah, we are hiring. And if you are someone who loves Kadence and you love helping people get more out of WordPress, this is the job for you. And then you get to hear all of the secret fun stories about Ben's kids too. So we would love to hear from you. But I know a lot of people are here to see all about Shop Kit. Ben, just at a very high level, what made you develop Shop Kit in the first place? What is the thing that you brought to WooCommerce that's so powerful? And just as a larger overview, if anybody hasn't used Shop Kit yet.
Yeah, I think Shop Kit, I often develop products for me, in the end, like it's like, this is what I want out of WooCommerce. So swatches and a lot of the things, a better gallery, a lot of that all came, in the initial versions of Shop Kit. What's so powerful about 2.0 is we redid the gallery entirely. It's loads faster. It has variation options, so you can switch your entire gallery based on which variation is selected. So you get a lot of benefits from the new gallery, but then really powerfully now you can build the entire template for your WooCommerce product page, archive, or product loop, all with Gutenberg. So we developed a whole bunch of new blocks that give you a lot of control over the different pieces that make up a product page. And then you add in the power of like Kadence Blocks and using dynamic content, and all of a sudden, like, there's not really any product page you can't create now. And so you're not just like, now there's just a whole lot more that you can do and be creative with your product pages to make them stand out, to make the experience a lot better. Whereas previously you're kind of stuck to like, I have a couple tabs and a little description window. This makes it a lot more powerful. And so that's fun. And I think like what's going to come out of this is going to be a lot of really creative product pages that do improve sales for people and a lot of businesses to grow. So
great. Excellent. I'm very excited. Now, Hannah and I spent some time yesterday shopping, a little too much time shopping. We had a lot of fun looking at some big brands and some not so big brands and some creative product pages. And we sent those over to you, Ben. Did you see, with some of these things, I know that they aren't built in WordPress. Could they be built with WordPress with WooCommerce right now? And then could they, or does Shop Kit open that up for them?
I mean, if you wanted to get into code, you could always do whatever you want. I mean, people ask me, is this possible? I'm like, well, everything in the end is possible. It's just whether or not you can code it. But with Shop Kit, now a lot of these are very possible. You sent me one that is actually a WooCommerce site or a WordPress site. I actually think they're using a different cart, but it's very animation and scroll driven. And so I was like, how would I do that? And that one's, you can use Shop Kit to use the template, but you're going to need a like Revolution slider type engine to power all of the animation scrolling effects, which can be really cool if you're like on a 1 or 2 product very small product website, that can be a great, like, really different, really unique, make people go, "Whoa, what is this?" Sometimes that can also have the reverse effect of people are like, "I don't know what's going on or how to find the add to cart button." So
Sure.
you got to be careful. But yeah, I think anything can be done now with ShopKit. Just you might need, some extra tools, but the ability of ShopKit to take over the template and allow you to put whatever you want into a block makes most things or anything possible.
Excellent. Great. Well, do you want to just get into it and start showing us a little bit of what ShopKit can do?
Yeah, well, that's great.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Okay, great. I am going to share Ben's screen. Isn't that funny? Like on Zoom, it's like share your screen, but I get to share Ben's screen.
You get to share my screen. Yeah.
Kathy has all the power, which is good. We want Kathy to have it.
It's also very dangerous. Danger to myself and others. But yeah, okay, we'll just let Ben show what he's got here.
Yeah, so I mean, I think it's worth just mentioning, like, this is your standard product page, and it's not that this is anything significantly wrong with this, but when you look at, we'll click through a couple products, like you're generally just wanting more, where you have some things like these big image that just like grab attention and really get people to be like, oh man, I want that. I see this. Even with this one, the ability to kind of show all this, that's largely, it's not so much like, do I need to rethink how product pages are designed? Like in general, image, title, review, like all of this is like so like what we're ingrained to look for. But then when you add in the extras of not having to drop into like a very basic experience, but like here you've got reviews that are actually outside of the review section. So just shown a different way. And like even this, like with this nice, pretty circle background image, like this kind of thing is what takes the product page just that one level higher and like really gives that added experience. I mean, swatches obviously go a long way. But like, this one where you've got this, you've got a product gallery, which is fine. But then like as the user scrolls, they're not having to click through a product gallery to kind of get a sense for like all the different things about this pack. And I'll say this, like people scroll a lot more than they click through carousels or galleries. Like it's like, we just do, we scroll a lot more. And so like my advice is if you're getting to like start thinking about like, how do I want to redo my product pages, look and build toward a scrolling environment versus an environment that is like requiring a lot of action steps to get a sense for this. Like here I am 8 images in before I see this like cool inside of the pack that's like got this bold color and makes it just that much more appealing. Apple like very much hides like the different product views in a tiny little thing, but it's because like their whole experience and even before you get here has a lot more of like, this is a scrolling environment to see what you want. I love this idea of a grid, which I mean, by the way, like this is all possible now with the product gallery where you're not having to like product by product be like, okay, I need to add a gallery, a custom gallery. Now I can still use WooCommerce's gallery, but I can show my products in a grid because users are now going to get a much cooler like feel for the product in a nice design, sticky sidebar and things like that. So here's some of the products. We can come back to this in a second, but like just to give you an idea of like, what are you jumping away from here? So like, here's one I remade and I did in a different webinar. Like this is using some dynamic content, but here you've got like, the ability to switch all of these product images based on which color option you're selecting, your size chart that's in line with the attribute. So it's like very much right here. These are some of the tweaks that have come with ShopKit 2.0 where like being able to customize or at least being able to add these little like things that just take that product experience to the next level. So like this, and two, like you can think in terms of like, I just want to style one product, or like maybe in terms of like, I want to style a whole group of products and apply a template across products. So like in this case, this stuff is dynamic. So if we jump in here, we'll just look at that template. This is the back end where you've got your template settings and your block settings, and you kind of get, obviously a live view of exactly how it's going to look on the front end, but I can come in here and see like, this is actually dynamically driven. So I'm sourcing the post excerpt as the thing that's filling this. So if I apply this to multiple products, that's going to change. The product title is obviously going to change. You can come in here and play with like your add to cart settings. You can adjust like the button color size, all that kind of stuff. Your gallery has a lot of settings. So here, like I'm inheriting the global gallery setting for my site, which is like thumbnails on the side. But like if I wanted to, for this template, set it up as tiles or as 2-column grid, like I can quickly do that without having to like change all of the products. And so like this area right here, this is all dynamically driven. We're using a dynamic image that's pulling from advanced custom fields, dynamic text that's pulling from advanced custom fields. So all of this is like controlled within the product. This is kind of cool. Like in this one, I've got it to conditionally display only if there's a URL for the video. So like, obviously you don't need to show a play video button unless there's a video for that product. So this whole section can disappear. So you can create templates that even have conditional things based on what your product has. I spent a lot of time playing around with like, how do I make tab experience better? And so like with this, you've got the ability to switch tabs from a tab system to an accordion system. So this is your default. You can do the collapse style. And then you can enable and disable tabs. So like I can disable the description tab, mostly because in this case, like I'm going to use the description in a different area. Like this feature section is going to be my product description. So I don't need it here. Lots of stuff like that, where you can come in and really like, you take the tabs component, that's a WooCommerce component, you put it where you want, but you also style it like in what makes sense. Within Shop Kit, you can add extra tabs. So like in this case, I've got like returns and exchanges and shipping details that are just examples. But like you have the ability to add global tabs to your products. And, each section can be broken out. So traditionally reviews lived inside of tabs. Like you can see I've disabled reviews because I want to show them separately here as a review block. So, if you're coming in and building, you're looking up here and you're saying, okay, I can come into Woo template blocks. And here's all my different stuff from breadcrumbs, reviews, custom actions. If you've got a third-party plugin that hooks in something, you can hook that in, and you've got like upsell and stuff like that. So this is kind of where you're working in the back end, which is a lot of WooCommerce blocks, but then you also have the power of like, here, I can add this section. This is a Kadence block. I've got a row layout with the background and the dividers in, and I'm using these icons and stuff like that, which is all can be really fun to create just a better product. Here's another example of like just being able to create a much more dynamic layout than your typical WooCommerce one, where you have a sticky sidebar and an accordion, where you take like what would essentially be a pretty simple product page. Like there's not a lot of detail here, but because we're showing the images in this list view, it just feels so big, like so much like more compelling when you actually look at like, what's the data? Like what's the text that actually makes this up? It's really just some images, but it goes a long way for feeling like, wow, this is a cool experience. And then here's one, like this is your standard, again, tabs view. I'm going to go and turn on like this template, which, by the way, like there's some cool things in here. You can now duplicate templates. That's something we added just recently. You can switch from publish to draft right on the list view. So then if I refresh this, like this just goes up that extra level when you have this cool like tiles view of the gallery. So you get the different views, the main shot, and some features with like right into the reviews, and then even like the ability to like use tabs to show, different ways of upselling other products. So, I mean, that's kind of like your major overview. I think it's important to know, like we do try to help. So if you're starting a new one, you're going to come in here and select which template type. And then we've got some basic, like here, just recreate the product page and let me edit from there. Or like, let's dive in. I want to play around with large images, or I want to play around with like one that's using the tiles, or I want to start blank. And this is an area that like, I'm excited to like let this thing really grow. And as we add more features to these blocks, like just keep highlighting all the different things you can do. But yeah, and you can select and drop it in, and away you go. You start building out your product page. So
that is so amazing. I can see a lot of the innovations that you brought to Kadence Elements kind of feeds into what you're doing for WooCommerce here. And it's just incredibly powerful, really unlocks so many different things that people can do with their product pages and create those really immersive experiences where like yesterday, just getting sucked in and all of a sudden I'm buying something like I'm working. I'm not supposed to buy something. And I'm seeing that same type of experience here that is really engaging to an end user that pulls them in to really consider that product as their own. That is so exciting to see. We have a question, and I know that this is something that you had talked about in our product meeting earlier, that there are two versions on the Kadence downloads page. If you are already a Kadence bundle owner, and or if you just are a Shop Kit owner, there are two versions now in your downloads. Ben, can you talk a little bit about why they're seeing that?
yeah, I mean, I think with any major release, having the option to step back if you find something that we didn't find. I mean, we've been testing this now. We're like on month 2 of like even having users testing it. So, but still, third-party plugins, like some things just do things weird, and servers can do things weird. So always having that fallback. So there's the main one, which is version 2.0.5. And then there's like, if you wanted to go back, you can download, and I labeled it there. It's called Old Stable, and that's 1.6.29. So if for some reason you updated and you're like, I need a bug report, this third-party plugin is messing something up. I don't foresee that happening, but I can't possibly test every single WooCommerce plugin out there. So this is just like a helpful thing. I'm actually working toward making it that way with like all of our products, where like you can get the latest version, which we would say the latest stable version. I'm looking at potentially doing the latest beta version, and then also doing the latest previous old stable version, so that people have access to different versions. If you're like, hey, I want to see what's new, maybe I want to download the beta, or if like I found something and I need to get my site back up right now, and it was something that came from a third-party plugin that we couldn't possibly foresee, maybe it takes us a day to get that update out. Well, you can't wait a day, right? So you get access to that previous stable version.
Great. Another really good question that we got from Patrick. Can we make pre-built templates and then also add them into Kadence Cloud so that we can share them across all of our projects?
No, not right now. The reason is that all of the WooCommerce blocks only show up inside of a WooCommerce template, because they're built for the WooCommerce like templates, and they're expecting to get that data. So if you put them into a thing, if you just added them into a random page, they wouldn't do anything. They'd say like, hey, there's no source information to pull from. Kadence Cloud is like a random custom post type. So I'm thinking about ways to do this, and potentially, like, right now I'm looking at, if Kadence Cloud is installed, the option of like, hey, add this to Kadence Cloud library or something like that. Or maybe just making all of those, making the post type that's in Kadence Cloud use source data from your product. If you're building, like, you just like click a button and say, this is a WooCommerce template, and maybe we do something like that. But I see the need for that. Like, I can see that that'd be cool. But just the like understanding from the technical side of like adding WooCommerce blocks into a random custom post type just doesn't always like make sense, which is why you can't do it right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great. All right. We do have another question about using the Shop Kit blocks outside of WooCommerce, like if we wanted to put the price block in a main page.
Yeah, that's not what these blocks are for. I mean,
Okay.
WooCommerce itself has a lot of blocks that you can use. They have an add to cart block and stuff like that that you can use anywhere and just assign a product to it. And I think what I'm looking at going forward for that kind of thing is in Kadence Blocks Pro with dynamic content, adding a whole WooCommerce area of the dynamic content. So you can say, like, I want to pull in the price dynamically from this source. I'm thinking, rather than building a bunch of blocks that will do that, I'm just going to use the dynamic content as a way as the engine for that. So that to me is something I'm like working on. If you're just creating a custom page somewhere and you're like, I need this product sourced, you can do that with dynamic content. But being able to do some of the stuff that's like WooCommerce specific, like, hey, I want to pull in the price, but I need it to be formatted in the way that WooCommerce formats the price, not just like raw. That kind of stuff is like what I'm looking to add into dynamic content.
Great. Okay, and then we've got another comment that I just wanted to highlight, that Pierre here used Shop Kit Beta for creating template courses with LearnDash and Woo, and it allowed him to create some actual landing pages with specific headers without distractions, and that worked out super well.
Cool.
So that's exciting to hear. So if I'm sorry, this made me laugh, you little stalker. So we have a community coming together. I'm just showing this because that's what made me laugh. It's so great to see the community coming together and everybody meeting each other in the live stream. Lots of familiar faces. That's so wonderful. Ben, is there something other than the product pages that you kind of want to showcase?
Yeah, I think it's worth just like mentioning how some of this other stuff works. So let me hop back into this one here. This loop. With the loop item, obviously my preview by default is pretty narrow. If you're building like a list where it's like a single column view, coming into the preview settings, you can adjust like how that's going to look. So I think it's worth understanding, like, inside of this button at the top here, you're going to get your preview settings. So when you're editing and you want to change how this like looks, definitely come in here. But with the product loop, like, it's really nice to think about, this is the size I'm going to be working in, and this is how it's going to look, versus like editing this in a massive width. But then here you've kind of got all the same controls or same blocks, but these are all with like slightly different controls based on the fact that it's in the loop. But you still have all the design options. And then too, like, it's worth saying, like, now that you have loop control, you can kind of go a little bit crazy with it and use dynamic content to do like really interesting things inside of your product loop. So that's worth noting. I think it's also worth noting that you can create an archive. And to me, like, the best use cases I've seen for like a custom product archive page is where you're not just adding the product loop in, like that's what WooCommerce already does. But you can, I want to at least show this. This is your main query. So this is adding your product grid in. You can change the columns. And generally, like if you're doing a custom archive page, you probably want to get away from like, I'm just going to show my products in a grid. And obviously like this site has some random products. But you want to get into like, I want to, really look at doing something. I don't have Pro installed on this, where I'm pulling in like something like this, where like this is my archive page, and I'm doing it way, way more custom. And it's not about showing a whole bunch of products, but it's like actually saying like, no, when you get into this category, I'm going to show you something really like that doesn't feel like just an archive of products. And so I think that's like, my hint there. Like if you want to make a cool category page, really go out with like making it custom for that specific category and like making that much more like a landing page than like, I need to see all the products that are in that category. I think there's definitely use cases for that, but generally like if you've got, let's call it 15, 20 products, you almost never need that like archive page. You really want to get people into thinking like in terms of like, if this is a category, here are your options. Go ahead and help them make the right selection with your content rather than just giving them like, hey, browse them all and see which one you want, if that makes any sense. And I think I wanted to talk about this one because this is the one we brought up at the beginning of like, this is a very weird product experience, right? And how does somebody make something like this? Or even like if you go to the homepage of this site and you start scrolling, this cool like, whole animation experience. This is a great example of like, I need to basically make the theme and make WooCommerce go away. And I need to just control this whole thing in a design animation experience. And so like Revolution Slider, like this is what it's made for. Like this is the kind of thing that it's designed to do. In fact, like here's an example that they have of like, here's a funky way to browse. I mean, I don't know why you'd ever do this with hamburgers, but like the idea being like, if you want to go way out there and just say like, take the theme away, I want an animation experience that is like, just stands out like this product does, like using something like the Revolution Slider is going to be like your ticket. And then you can add that into Kadence Shop Kit by saying like override the template with this. And then you get that really cool. You can build that cool experience.
I really liked this one because the brand never goes away. Like, every single product page that you look at, you see the brand, you feel the brand, that vibe is there, but each page is so distinct to the product. And to be able to open up WooCommerce to have that kind of experience. I think it's really important to note that when you're designing something like that, when you have the power to really change each product page and do something completely and totally different, you have a lot of power. And to make sure that that brand element stays woven into everything that you're doing is very important. Something that you consciously have to make a decision, but that this freedom to give a new feeling for each individual product is something that ShopKit brings to WooCommerce, and just I think it's pretty amazing. So that one was really exciting, and then also those little waves were really cool.
The waves changing in the back, it's awesome.
That was fun.
It's well designed. Yep. And for that,
I was gonna say, if somebody makes a site like that with ShopKit, I would love to see it.
Yeah.
Totally. And here's another thing that it's just what Hannah said. If you do something really cool with ShopKit that you're proud of, that you're like, nobody's ever really done this before, but wow, I did this and it really affected conversions and it did well. I think that's something that we and the marketing team would like to highlight. So we would like to give shout outs to anybody who's doing something innovative with ShopKit. We know we're giving you some really amazing tools here. We want to see what creativity you come up with, and we would love to elevate that brand awareness of whatever you're doing with ShopKit. So definitely hit us up. You can find us in the Facebook group if you're not already there. Definitely join the Kadence Facebook group. I think the link is somewhere in the chat because there is, and it's down below, I think. I'm all discombobulated, but that group is amazing. There are so many wonderful people in there who are helping Kadence users get more out of Kadence, from the very basic to the more complex question is asked there. And it is wonderful to see all of the innovation that's happening with Kadence in that group. We have a question, Ben, about the branding piece. Can you explain that a little, of how that works in Shop Kit?
Yeah, let's hop in and look real quick here. So here's your overall settings. I'm assuming they're talking about product brands, which you can add. And essentially what this does is it adds a custom taxonomy for products, but also allows you to assign an image to that taxonomy. So we'll just save this as enabled. And then if we look under products, you're going to see product brands. Here we can add a new one. And then we can select an image for this brand. Let's just say that for now. And this essentially works like categories in that it's going to build an archive of like all the products that are associated with that brand. But you can display that on your product page as like in a different way. So let's go into here. I'm going to add test to this product. And now we're going to view the product and go into the template. So here's the product. I want to add the product brand into this template. And so right now what I'm doing is I'm adding that image. So like, let's say Gregory being the brand, if I had a Gregory logo as that product brand, that would show here. And I could click on this and it would take me to all the Gregory products. So if you're like an online store that sells different backpack brands, now you have a way to put a brand image into your product wherever you want to in the template, and then have that link to all the other products that Gregory offers. And with this, like you can, so here, let me save that. You can show the name, like there's some more options inside of Shop Kit for like how you want that brand to show, but by default, it's going to just show the image. So, and there's like, here's your output, which is your default output. If you're not using a template, like I can assign where it goes if I'm not using Woo templates, or I can add the block to the product page. But then you can set it, you can enable the image to be hard cropped. You can link it to the brand page. For the archive, you can also show it there. So you get a lot of options for how you want your brands to be associated with it. Or like, I mean, it doesn't have to be brands. Like maybe I've seen people use this as a way to show like classes of products, or like, if you're selling used products, you can be like, this is like new, or this is used, all that kind of stuff with brands, because you just changed it to be like, product class, and then add pictures for like, or just show text would be like, this is like new, or this is, used, or this is brand new, that kind of thing. Like you can do a lot with brands and just being able to have that image show up on your page.
Definitely. Cool. We have one question, and I know a lot of people are here because Kadence is amazing when it comes to page speed. How is Shop Kit with speed and accessibility? I'm going to throw in there as a question as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think we're using the core Kadence block structure, so you're still going to get all the like accessibility things. tabs are very accessible via keyboard or screen reader. And what we did to make the accordions work is similar. Like, we're not breaking the WooCommerce accessibility in tabs. It's built in. We're actually adding on it. When it comes to speed, like even the like update 2.0.5, that is like our launch update. One of the main things I was working on in that to get right was, how do I make this product gallery load without any shift in layout? Like, so there's a lot of code to just make sure it loads correctly, where it's going to hold that image size even before the image is loaded and things like that. So speed and getting those, like getting that right is crucial. You know, with this, the gallery that is being used, the JavaScript is super lightweight, lighter than the core WooCommerce one. So
Great.
you're going to like, you get a lot of the speed benefits when you're, loading Shop Kit, because you're going to just be loading what you need.
Great.
It's going to unhook a lot of the stuff too that WooCommerce by default loads.
Okay, great. All right. And we have a question about activating Gutenberg in the product page, but this works differently, right? We're creating product templates separate from the actual product page, correct?
Yeah. I mean, at this point, it's hard to advise activating Gutenberg in the product page. You certainly can. There's some custom code you need to add, but there's a reason WooCommerce hasn't done that yet. And how this works is different. You're very much thinking in terms of like, I'm going to build a template. So I get my product data entry in one view, where that's like my edit page. And I'm going to put in the title, the description, the stock, and all of that. I'm thinking data entry. And then I can go and design how that's going to look in Gutenberg by building out the template. And I can assign that template to a single product if I want to, or I can assign it to a group of products, or I can assign it to all products. But by doing it that way, you can add your data, manage your data, but then also manage the design in two different windows, because one would be, more focused on data entry and one is more focused on design. So when you're managing your product going forward, you're not getting into Gutenberg to be like, how do I find the inventory and things like that?
Right. Okay. All right. And we have questions. There's been a few questions about offer bumps in one-click upsell. Is this something that should be a feature request, or do we have ways of doing that with Shop Kit?
Yeah. I mean, right now, like the real winners that are doing that is like cart flows and things like that. We have cart banners, which does allow you to say like, hey, if this product is in the cart, you can add a thing where it adds a product, add a coupon, that kind of stuff. But where people really want that is in the checkout page, and they want to be able to do that. I think right now, Shop Kit is very much focused on like, how do we make that product buying experience better, all the way through. And whether or not we get into like, let's take over the cart, or let's work really well with another cart solution, like a cart flows or something like that. That's something I think probably the next step will be to redo the way that cart banners works, change that to a different workflow where you're working in Gutenberg, and then allow you to say, assign that to the cart and the checkout page. And then on the checkout page, it would work very much like an order bump or a, upsell. But that gets into just a, like, you think of it as a small feature, but then you go look at cart flows and how much is happening to make some of that stuff work. And there's just going to be cases where it's like, I need cart flows because I need to do this really, really advanced thing. And right now, Shop Kit is not a cart flows competitor. Sure. Where I would very much look at us as like, you need this for this and that for that. So figuring out how to be all things for all people, right, and then know your lines is always a trick. I think extending cart banners is like a priority of mine, and how they work, especially how you edit them, but becoming a full on cart flows competitor is probably not where we're going to do short term.
Right. Okay. This will be an easy question, right? Because I think this is something possible to do. We can add videos to product galleries.
Yeah.
On the product
So
page.
I did this a little bit differently than how I've seen other people do it. So other people allow you to upload a video, and then it shows that video in the gallery. For loading purposes, to me, like, you want video to not load when you load the page, generally. So I made it to where it loads in a light box. So I can show that here. Here it is. So this image is just an image I have assigned to the product. And in the image, I've told it where this video lives. So now when I click on it, it's going to open and play the video, which is like obviously a different experience than the video playing here. I tend to like this experience a lot better because it gives the person the option to click on it. Obviously, I think this image, it's just randomly picked. You could pick a better image, but on the back end of this, I will show you how that works. So here are my product images. When I'm, let me see, how do I get to that? Let's do this. When you're selecting your image to go into the product gallery, there is this product video URL. And that's where you can drop it in. And that's all it takes. So once you add that URL to an image and place that image in your gallery, wherever you want it to live, we automatically pick that up, and that shows as adding the play button on top of the image in the thumbnail, as well as in the main product thing. And then it makes that a video pop up.
That is super slick. Very, very nice. Excellent. Wow. There's a lot going on here. There is so much happening. Try to get to a few more of your questions, but I wanted to highlight this right away because there's so much happening here. And I want as many people to get in on Shop Kit as possible. We are a part of Liquid Web. We're a part of Stellar WP. All of the Stellar brands are having a 40% off sale. All of the Kadence products except the Lifetime Bundle are included in that. And that's lasting until Sunday night, I believe. And now is the time. If you do not have a bundle yet, the full bundle is what you want. The full bundle has everything that you need Kadence-wise. It's got Kadence Conversions, so you can do those really awesome pop-ups, banners, and slide-ins to appeal to users wherever they are in terms of their process of buying journey. It's got Shop Kit with all of these features. Plus, of course, you're going to get Kadence Theme Pro. You're going to get the Kadence Bundle or the Kadence Blocks Pro, which has all of that conditional dynamic content that you can also wrap into all of your templates with Shop Kit, which it's just everything you need. If you have a WooCommerce store, the Kadence Bundle is everything that you need, and it's on sale 40%. It's kind of a deal. That's why I was so excited that we got this ready to launch during the sale. Hey, it's a perfect storm.
Yeah.
So there's links in the all around. You'll find the links. Go to the Kadence WP site. There's a banner across the top. If you can't find the sale, we've done something wrong here. It is there. So, that is that we're getting to the end of our live stream. Hannah, do you have anything? What's your favorite part about Kadence Shop Kit that you've seen so far?
I love the ability to edit the galleries the way that you can. I think for me, that's huge. Like Ben pointed out the ons page, and I just think that's so beautiful, that tile. And I love how you did that, Ben, with one of the workout guys, that tile. I think that's so beautiful. So the gallery feature is huge for me. But honestly, all of it, I'm just really stoked on. It gives so much flexibility. So I'm so excited to see what people do with it.
Yeah, same. I am so excited as well. I am so excited because I've been working with Kadence Elements and templating for a while and doing a lot with advanced custom fields. And this just kind of brings all of that power, the power to really create a website that separates design from content. So your content lives in one place and your design, it just opens everything up for you. And now all of that Kadence has brought to just publishing, it's now bringing it to WooCommerce. And like I said, my prediction still stands that within a year, we're going to see some innovations happening in the WooCommerce space that is happening because of this amazing tool that our dev team led by Ben have brought together.
Yeah.
So this is exciting. Let's see, we might have a few other questions. Shortcodes associated with Shop Kit. We're not really doing shortcodes, are we?
I mean, there are some. I don't know exactly when you need it, but like Brands has a short code. If you are using, like, let's say you're building your templates out in Elementor, you're using Elementor Pro to build product templates, then you want to show your brands, you could do that. And we just revamped our docs site. Getting all of our Shop Kit stuff up to date is a high priority. And so then putting a list there, I'm not really sure if there's a specific shortcode you need, let me know. But outside of showing your product brand in a custom way, or showing, I think it would just be brands. And it's just, there's a shortcode for that. I message support and I'll make sure that gets to you. I don't know it off the top of my head.
Our friends at Upley Marketing, one of our biggest fans. I love interacting with the team over there on social media. They are definitely super fans using all Kadence, and I kind of feel like the whole death to Pagebuilders vibe going on too. It's so freeing once you've been using Pagebuilders and then you move over to the blocks and the Kadence Blocks way of doing things, where you just free up the way you're developing things and you're not like locked into a page is not locked into a way of doing things. The speed benefits, the accessibility benefits, the ease of management benefits of going this way, and Kadence is 100% behind that. So very exciting. And then this is not really Shop Kit related, but it's kind of a podcasty type question. So, are we going to do a Blocks Pro version 2? Any details on that?
So it's going to be the next big charge is to get we have a major update coming for Kadence Blocks. And I'm really excited about it. I think it's going to be a major game changer, but I don't want to give away any details yet. It's coming. And I'm working on it and I'm getting really excited. So not only are we doing we're doing a lot of structural things in the back end, making it faster, and we're doing a lot of structural things with the organization of settings, so you have better control there. We're looking at an easy mode and an advanced mode, but we're also looking at some new blocks that should really make us stand out.
Excellent. Very exciting. All right. Well, we're excited. We're so glad that you joined us today. Please take advantage of that stellar sale. I want to make sure that you get it at a good price, and that when the management says, hey, put everything on sale, I'm all for it. So go to cadencewp.com, click around. No matter where you go, you're going to get that discount, but only until Sunday. So get Shop Kit, and we can't wait to see what you build with it. If you are a regular listener of the podcast, we are not going to have an episode this week because we're here showing our shining faces and working really hard to get all this code out ready for you. And we want to make sure that we're doing that. We'll be back in a couple of weeks with the podcast. If you have not yet listened to the Kadence Beat podcast, head on over to cadencewp.com/podcast and you can start getting some of those episodes there. We don't just talk about product there. We also talk about some effective strategies that can help you get more out of Kadence, more out of WordPress, and just more out of your website as a whole. Well, sometimes we talk about how to do design stuff or all of the tools that make WordPress better. So definitely listen in over there. And hey, did you guys have fun with the live stream here? Was this good for you?
Yeah, it felt a little bit like a webinar, so that's good. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. We'll have to
Yeah.
do this again sometime. Next product launch, maybe, or maybe we'll just, make this a regular thing. I don't know. We're really glad that everybody could join us. Thank you so much to Gilbert, one of our support representatives who has been very active in chat. He's wonderful. And if you want to work with Gilbert, we're hiring. So definitely that link is around somewhere as well. We would love to talk to you. We're looking for.
Yeah, totally.
So we're excited.
We're really fun.
We're crazy fun. This is the best, my favorite group of people that I've worked with, and favorite product in WordPress by far. Can I say that? That Kadence is my favorite.
Just don't say what else you've worked on, and then you're fine.
Yeah. This is my favorite product. I'm so excited. The innovation that comes out of this team is amazing. It's just, I'm so happy and so blessed to be here working with Ben and Hannah, and also just the community of people, our affiliates. If you're not yet a Kadence affiliate, and you do this kind of stuff, definitely some opportunities there as well. Our affiliates are amazing. They're building businesses based on Kadence, Kadence Cloud, Kadence child themes, all of that fun stuff. So there is so much happening in, can I dare say, the Kadence movement. So we're happy.
She's bold. She's bold today. Come on.
Yeah.
I love it.
Hey, you only live once. And this was a lot of fun. Thanks everybody for joining, and we will see you next time.
Yeah. Thanks everybody.